originally in English, June 2023. Scimitar means short curved sable or sword. Is that a human word? That is, but it's the best translation from Taygetan. Hanare. That is how it sounds in Taygetan.
Wow, cool. Where is the accent on which syllable?
Hanare. For explanatory purposes, I must compare Taygetan and other races' fighter class starships with human fighter aircraft for clarity, especially when describing its roles. A Hanare or Scimitar class starship is a medium-size multiple-role fighter craft. There are two variants. 1. Dedicated interceptor. 2. Multiple-role assault craft. Hanare A and Hanare B types. The interceptor is 50 to 50 meters long, depending on the subvariant or model, and the variant 2 is 60 meters long. They are both 20 meters wide at the wingtips. It is the most numerous of all Taygetan fighter craft and is the backbone of its fighter force. Scimitar-class fighters are just about everywhere where Taygetans are, and are deployed as fleet fighter cover and as basic equipment for larger craft such as Alcyone and Toleka-class warships that basically serve as human aircraft carriers.
What does the interceptor mean?
Interceptor means that Hanare or Scimitar Class A fighters are built for the specific purpose of chasing and destroying other fighter craft, hence the name interceptors. They are as fast and as maneuverable as they can be. Their purpose is to hunt and chase away other fighter craft and all other spacecraft, basically.
And the other type?
The other type is larger inside. Class B can also fulfill fighter interceptor roles, but are equipped with a large internal cargo and equipment bay, accessed by a front ramp, and it is designed to enter an airspace fast, deliver troops and ground vehicles, and get out of the area again fast. Their main purpose is to dust off people, troops and vehicles, and are the starship of choice for most extractions. Their interior is large enough to accommodate 2 APC or 2 large vehicles such as a Chevrolet Suburban full-size SUV. Scimitar Class A can also extract, is also equipped with a front ramp, but its cargo hold is very small and limited. It's not designed for dust-offs. They are designed for speed and maneuverability. The closest thing to a scimitar Between Scimitar A and Scimitar B, the A is a little thinner, but just as long. Same shape, but as if it were a Scimitar B on a diet. However, there is very little difference at first glance. The main difference is inside, as the B is designed for air assault and dust-off, and A is an interceptor ship, designed for air superiority, to go ship against ship. The B cannot do what the A does simply because it is much heavier.
What's the difference between air assault and going ship against ship?
Air assault is when you arrive at an area, on the ground or on another very large ship or biosphere, deliver troops and APCs that in turn will go to take over buildings and installations that are on the ground. Air combat is when a ship goes against another ship, or many against many.
Thanks. So what do you mainly use these spaceships for? Against whom? Or in what situations? Earth? Off Earth?
Against anything that threatens Taygetan security, on and off Earth. For example, Earth's deep cabal attempting to enter Taygetan airspace with shady intentions. Example of this was back in 1939-45, when the Nazis tried to invade Sindriel Aldebaran, a Taygetan colony.
Okay, and maybe you can describe the last time one of them was used.
One of the last times they were used was to assess the situation of the war in Ukraine, where usually a Scimitar B will do the dust-off, while a Scimitar A interceptor will circle above, giving air cover. It was used to drop the crew and the vehicles, and then to recover them again. And as a not-so-interesting mission, more recently, Scimitar A and Bs are usually used to descend to Earth, roll out civilian-looking vehicles such as Alanim's Tracker, Suburban and Tahoe SUVs, when the Taygetans go down to Earth to fetch food and human-made goods. As you can see, they are multiple role crafts.
Okay, and during the operations like the one in Ukraine, what kind of technology do you use so they are not detected neither by the army on Earth or civilians on the ground?
Scimitars use high-energy toroidal stealth technology, phasing the ship out of the 3D white light spectrum, infrared, and microwave radar spectrums used by humans. They cannot be seen.
So they become invisible to our human detection systems, even to secret cabal technologies?
Yes, they become undetectable. Other ways can be used, such as gravity displacement detectors, but the cabal is not yet at that level of technology.
So if someone saw the truck coming out of it, the truck would be coming out of the air? Or how would it look to the random passerby?
A door opens in mid-air, in the nothing, and the vehicle rolls out.
Wow, seriously? Did anyone ever see you roll out?
It has happened more than once, yes.
What did the person do?
They usually freeze or run away. The ship is there, you just can't see it.
What kind of technology you have in them that differentiates you from other ET races?
Many species have this technology, but we are known for having it perfected and at cutting edge. Now, scimitars are older craft, although the technology in them is constantly being updated. They've been around for many decades now, whatever that means, as time is different for Taygetans. Many are already showing signs of aging, but scimitar craft are known to be extremely reliable, tough craft. They can take a beating and they still go. Another problem with scimitars is that many engine components are hard to access and service, needing to disassemble much of the craft or remove an engine entirely to access those parts. But their reliability ensures them to be in active service for a long time to come, as they are tough little ships. I've been authorized to say this next. At least here for Toleka, 2 new fighter-class starship classes are now entering service to replace some of the older scimitars and to strengthen Taygetan presence around Earth. First new one arrived just a month ago. The second one less than 2 weeks ago. Right now, they are mostly hiding inside Toleka's hangar, but they will be visible soon. Visible where? Up there or around Earth? By the Federation. From Earth as well, but that is under Cabal control, what gets out to the press and what does not. How did they arrive? Flew by themselves? Or on Saska or something? Supply ship. Saska download, by crane. They are the state of the art. Conversation with Aneeka, around 2020.
Just sharing. What I like about this video is the variety of shapes. That's what ships are like. Every shape you can think of, not just spheres and disks like people think.
Yes, I would like to design ships. I'd like to know more about the ships. The big ones.
Ask anything you want about them.
How are they designed? Are there regulations on how wide the aisles have to be depending on the number of crew, for example?
Yes, there are regulations, but not because of some silly laws, but for safety and practicality. If they're too narrow, the corridors are unsafe. But for example, in the Susi class, the 2 corridors, one on each side of the ship, where you go to the engineering room, around the reactors, you can hardly pass without turning sideways. The men do turn sideways when passing through there. Each of those corridors is about 90 centimeters wide. I've always found that unsafe, but of course, it's a fighter ship, and thank goodness you don't have to go outside to access the engines.
Are women the ones who design the ships?
Men and women, but it is true that in Taygetan it's more women. For example, I know that the Susi class are 100% made and designed by women, but the Scimitar are or were designed by men. You can see it in the design.
I can tell. That's what I was going to ask you.
The Susi ones are more rounded curves with a lot of attention to design. The Scimitar are very practical, all reinforced. You can tell they take a lot of beating, and they have taken a lot of beating.
And all of those ships are in the hangar of the Toleka?
Yes.
Scimitar, is that Taygetan?
No, it's translation. It's the kind of ship. It's a light sword class. I use human words because there are no translations. even Navajo is wrong.
And each ship, even if it's the same class, is different in shape? Or are there just small variables?
There are variables and variants. For example, the Scimitar B or Assault class has facilities inside for landing and picking up Hashmalim or Shinanim troops. Inside, you can fit up to 2 APCs or armored vehicles, or a human-like helicopter. The Scimitar Class A are interceptors, light and agile, designed as a fighter for ship-to-ship combat.
And don't you like more the shapes of nature to design ships?
Women generally use more natural shapes than men in ship designs. For example, the Susie class interior lights are like ivy that are all over the ship inside, on the edges of the corridors above, on the interior structures, and they light up to illuminate inside and change colors.
Questions from the public, June 2023. Okay, I have a few questions from followers that are passing me right now on Telegram. First, how many trans-dimensional shields do they have? Ships' shields are set as onion layers. How many is classified, but there isn't a fixed number of them. They can vary with the desired strength of the shields at each moment. Okay, for a battle with hybrid reptiles, do they lower their vibration for this action? It is not necessary, as a higher vibration already includes all the lower ones. It would be the reptiles who cannot access us. We can them. And there is no battle going on against any reptiles at this point, not like that. The war on Earth is for the minds and consciousness of the people. It is hardly a shooting war. Are Scimitars same as Susie class? No, Susies are Susie class starships, much newer. Susies are tip-top cutting-edge fighter crafts. Everything is different in them. Materials, electronics, engine types and designs. Susies are a lot larger than Scimitars and they look very different. They are also much faster. Okay, I will be making a separate video about Susie, so we can talk about them more later. Okay, as an advance, there are Susie Class 1, like Swaruu of Eras, my mother's, Susie Class 2, like my own, the larger type, and the new Susie 3 type interceptors. Okay, thanks. I have this question about Scimitars. Is there any chance we can see and recognize them? Yes, they are widely seen as UFOs. Science fiction has attempted to normalize their design as well, introducing or plagiarizing it for their movies and series. But will they be seen as how they are, or also disguised as something else? Usually as they are. I assume they are also capable of hyperspace jumps, right? They are full interstellar, yes. How many crew members does it need? A Scimitar A has 2 seats. A Scimitar B has 4 seats in the cockpit and several others in the cargo bay as needed. And that's all that's needed to fly them?
One person can fly any of them alone, and they are capable of flying on their own using their AI.
Okay, next question. Can a fighter craft detect if a starseed or if someone is thinking about the craft or the crew, good thoughts or bad thoughts? Can it detect if one is looking upon the sky and at the same time thinking about if they can sense it?
They can, using synthetic telepathy technology. Yes, they can and do.
Really? You mean they detect us using synthetic telepathy technology they have?
Yes.
So that kind of telepathy is used not only to send but to receive as well?
Send and receive, yes.
And if they can, question is, do they? Do they do that? And for what? Do they then appear to that person or something? I doubt it. Not your kind of ships.
They usually only listen, because any further action is considered invasive, therefore not moral. They can send light messages as flashes in the sky, a bright light above. They can flash their headlights at the starseed looking up to the sky, and so on.
Wow, okay. I didn't know the ET people would waste time on that. Swaruu once said that those are usually manifestations from higher up. What's done with that info then by the crew?
It is added into the data banks in the case the starseed is known and is being followed.
Reminds me of Dale calling on the ships.
Exactly.
Okay, interesting. I must spend more time calling on Toleka then. I never do, as I never think Toleka cares or listens anyway, or any one of you, not in that sense. I mean, you are busy. Why would I do that?
The ships register it, especially low-flying ships like fighter craft, not so much larger cruisers like Toleka.
Fascinating. Okay, next question. Have such ships had incursions on Earth? And if so, have they had confrontations with Earth technology?
Yes, they are used to fly atmosphere all the time. And yes, Earth's cabal and their technology have attempted to hit them. Last time over China, back in early 2021.
Okay, next. If any Taygetan ships were shot down, are they programmed to self-disintegrate so the enemy won't misuse their technology?
Classified. Cannot reveal.
Okay, now this one. What is their top speed using just plasma jet engines in miles or kilometers per hour?
Close to 200 million miles per hour, taking into account that light speed is 671 million miles per hour. 320 million kilometers per hour. That's not that fast anyway. That's why you need supraluminar technology. I am only talking about plasma jet.
Okay, this question is a bit general. One question about the toroidal electromagnetic fields of the ships. Are these generated from electric coils? If so, what material do they use? Gold?
They are generated by the plasma engines themselves. And yes, the material used is special gold, that is a room temperature superconductor. The coils are capacitors that feed high voltage and high amp electricity into the counter-rotating engine turbines. And yes, they are turbines, and they can sound like a jet engine.
Okay, what types of sensors come equipped?
HD cameras, high power, optical, infrared, FLIR, SLIR, and RLIR in Earth military terms. High spectrum light detectors,
to see into what you could call the lower astral and above. Gravity displacement detectors, basically interferometers, and all kinds of electromagnetic spectrum sensors, as well as air sensors, spectrometers, and chemical analyzers, among others. Thanks. Now, this question might be interesting, not sure. How do they avoid detection of high-energy photon emission? That is, the ones that do not belong to the natural photonic environment. That is exactly how most starships not from Earth are detected, by their wake of the disturbance they leave in the field around them. Suzy-class starships can phase out of reality to avoid detection. It's a simple ship frequency change, but without losing awareness and position in the 3D world of Earth, for example. This technology is quite new, and it has been mentioned before in public. But not all starships are equipped with it. It can be related to being at warp, or faster than light speed, but being static or moving at low speed relative to the ground at the same time. Static supraluminar. But Yaski said they do leave some trail. Yes, they do, except when at light speed, static or not. At faster than light, you cannot communicate with the ground, you can only observe. Important question from me. Do you fly them? I do not fly Scimitar starships, but I could if I had to. I fly Suzy-class starships and several human-made fighter aircraft as well, as in my capability, specifically F-16C, F-15E, and F-18EFG. Who flies them from the crew you have now? Kila, Salafael, Azrael, Zachariel. And why don't they need seat time? I think it was said earlier. They do. Seat time is the perception of the duration of a trip in hyperspace. People are discussing this question as we speak and say it was mentioned somewhere they don't require seat time. Yes, that is correct. Yet, the seat time is not immediate from the point of view of the perception of the crew. It is only reduced as the ships are smaller and the frequency of their molecules can be changed more rapidly as compared to the one of a larger, heavier spacecraft with large mass, such as a Taygetan-class heavy cruiser. So if the trip from Earth to Taygetan usually takes 7 hours sit time for a Taygetan class, it can be reduced to only minutes for a fighter class starship, therefore also creating the illusion that it is moving a lot faster, and as would be expected. So I don't agree that there is no seat time at all. It gets reduced. There will always be a seat time, but it can be very small. Yet, from the technical point of view, the trip is instantaneous, really. Do they have life-saving capsules? All the ships do. Generally, the cabin detaches, or they have personal capsules that come out of the bottom of the ship, although it varies with the model. Do they have a separate generator that can open an escape portal from inside the ship for the crew members? The fighter ships have a jump room portal on board. In the case of the Suzy, they have two, one on each side, next to the tractor beam. Could several ones be coupled together Lego style to form a larger one with greater capabilities?
Not one after the other, but two can be docked and even work together as one ship. They stick belly to belly, using the hatches below.
Are the crew members telepathically connected to the ship to give orders?
Yes, they have both manual and synthetic telepathic command. All of them.
Do they have self-destruct, and in what case would they use it?
Repeated question. Classified.